So, namaste. Welcome to Satsang today. So, we're here together, we're gathered for this most sacred of opportunities to recognize ourselves even more clearly and to begin to live as that even more completely. Every moment is there another opportunity to see ourselves as we really are, to see what we really are, and to let go of ideas about what we thought was true about us. The truth is that we are not at all what we think ourselves to be. And for me, that was very, very shocking and a little bit scary when I first began to recognize I'm not at all what I thought I was, but also very liberating. And something would pull me to um, dive deeper and deeper into this recognition of what really is here, what really I am. So, who I thought I was a desperate um, seeker of truth, someone really, really, really trying to find the truth of my being and the real self with a capital S, or presence or consciousness or beingness or awareness, whatever we're calling that. And I'll call it many, many names. And the more I tried from this idea of who I thought I was, this seeker, to recognize, to find this real self that I was looking for, it never once occurred to me until much later that I might already be what I was seeking. Because the very seekingness itself um, made me feel very, very separate to this silence, this spaciousness, this formless presence of consciousness. And you've probably experienced that yourself, that the harder you try to find the self, to merge yourself into it, or become it, or whatever we're currently trying to do, the more separate we seem to feel, actually, and the worse things seem to get. So for me, eventually this idea began to arise of maybe the seeking isn't uh, the best way forward. And it began to become clearer that maybe I should really stop and investigate what I already am. If I continue to um, try to move towards something based on an idea of who I think I am, and I don't even know if who I think I am is correct, then is that search and that seeking going to be fruitful? So there was this kind of slowing down that happened of trying to find something, trying to find what was real. And more of a curiosity began to develop as to see what's already true about me. All the scriptures and the sages and everyone that I tried to read and understand about the truth, they were all saying the same thing, that I already am what I'm trying to find. But somehow I couldn't hear that for a long time. I was still trying to get somewhere or achieve something. I thought that I had to undo this sense of a separate self and get rid of it before I could recognize what I already am, this great silence of being. But somehow, the lack of success in seeking what's real and this deepening curiosity to what's already here, maybe there's nowhere for me to go in my journey except to turn inwards in terms of not seeking something that I think isn't already here, not trying to find something that I feel is absent or out there separate to me, but instead becoming really curious as to what's already true. And after a long time of hearing lots of great teachers say, reading their words, that what we're seeking is what is seeking. The silence that we're trying to find, the beingness, the presence, is what is seeking. It's just kind of confused about itself. I already am what I am looking for. I began to question then, why am I not recognizing this? If I am this already, why do I feel like a small, disconnected, desperate, jealous, and fearful person that's full of self-doubt? If I am this, that really is the basis of all forms, this formless presence, then why don't I feel like that? It really came down to one thing, that I was paying more attention to what my mind said I had to do to find peace and freedom than to become curious about the one that I thought the mind was talking to. So even while my mind was telling me that I was crazy and I should not stop seeking, there was this turning inwards of curiosity about what's already here. What's already here. Instead of trying to change myself into silence or merge into the great silence or dissolve the sense of separation, what if I just leave that and become really curious? What if I already am this silence? And something began to really shift for me then. I began to recognize that I had overlooked the most obvious thing. And of course, it's not obvious at all until we recognize what we are. If I am this, if you are this great silence of being already, what we're looking for must be right here, right now. The essence of our real nature, the formless silence of being, must be here already, right now. And as incredible as it seemed, I began to realize that what I had taken for granted as just ordinary and boring was something far different. The ordinary silence that seems to be punctuated by these words and noises and thoughts. The silence that's here right now that we're hearing in between these words is what we are. And yet, until we really come to value it, we won't really grasp the profound nature of this silence. And I realized I'd only ever really paid it the least attention, even while I was desperate to find the truth. The silence that's here right now, ordinary silence, just ordinary silence. That we're hearing right now. That is what I've been searching for this whole time. It was right here, but I've been overlooking it as just unimportant. So this deep curiosity began to arise as to what is this silence and how come I'm not experiencing it like the sages say, with a deep, profound sense of peace and contentment and joy and all those things that we read about. How come it just felt boring and really not all that important? So I'd like to, here in this satsang together, to just explore this silence together and really to just cultivate some curiosity, see if we can begin to experience it more deeply, experience ourselves more deeply. So we're just going to do a little kind of guided inquiry into what silence is. You can follow along together. We can all do this together. And the only thing we need to do this is a willingness to admit we might not have really heard silence. And no matter how many times I hear the silence that I really am, each time it somehow has a ability to unfold itself more deeply, more profoundly. And you can never get to the end. Like there is an ocean of silence. And we're just starting to dive down under the waves and deeper and deeper and deeper into such quietness. There's just peace, no disturbance possible. So we're just going to ask a really simple question. What is silence? And we'll just do this for 5 or 10 minutes. And all we need to do is when we recognize that we begin to think about silence, that we're going to experience what we think about silence, that it comes and goes, that we can't find it, that it really isn't so amazing. And we're just going to bring our attention back to the question, what really is silence? With as much curiosity as we can bring forth. We're just literally asking this question, what is this silence? Let's do that now. Knowing that you can't get it right or wrong, there's just asking the question and curiosity deepening with the understanding that maybe we haven't really gone as deep into silence as we really could. Maybe we've only really experienced what we think about silence. And there's a vast treasure trove of fullness and richness there, waiting to be discovered. So we're just going to ask this question together. What is this silence? And we're not going to try to make a answer appear or have an epiphany or anything. We're just going to listen and see what happens. And whatever happens, the next thing we're going to do is ask the question again gently, as if each time we ask the question, it takes us deeper and deeper into this ocean, descending deeper into the depths where the mind cannot reach, where there's only peace. You could do this with your eyes open or closed. It really doesn't matter. And let's just ask, what is this silence? We're just curious. We're not doing any work here. We're just curious. What is this silence? And just listening, asking the question and then listening. Just listening. And if you find that you've begun to listen to thoughts rather than silence, let's just ask this question again. What is silence? Deeply curious. What if silence was like a long lost friend who had just knocked on your door and you wanted to find out everything there was to see about them? Let's listen like that. What is silence? And we're simply asking the question to go deeper. What is silence? So we can ask this question one more time with all the curiosity that we have. What is this silence? And after a while, the answers don't matter. The question becomes a portal into something much more fundamental that we really are. And in a moment, we'll bring our attention back to this Zoom call, to our surroundings. But we don't have to let go of this spirit of inquiry, this questioning, this listening. If it feels good to simply ask, to be open, to see, to listen, we can be like this all the time. So if you want to open your eyes, if they're closed, you can, and just take a moment to come back to sense perception and take a drink or a stretch if you need to, move the body if you need to. So for me, when I began to explore like this, I didn't really know that it was self-inquiry I was doing. I just found somehow some very deep rest and slowing down of the frantic seekingness that had been going on. Somehow it felt like the more I just stayed with this question, somehow something was slowing down. And of course, we might prefer to ask about awareness or to ask about beingness or presence. It's all really the same thing. Silence is present. Presence is silent. Awareness is stillness. It's unmoving, unchanging. But what struck me most out of this kind of exploration, and maybe you've touched upon it as we explored together, was that I could either discover what silence really is, wordlessly and experientially, or I could spend time thinking about it, but I couldn't experience both. It could either think about silence or kind of open up in this inquiry, this asking, this questioning. And that I didn't need the mind to stop during the inquiry. It would offer thoughts about what silence is and might offer thoughts about whether I'm doing this inquiry right or wrong or whatever it's talking about. But still, this listening, this slowing down, this asking somehow opened me up in a way that the mind seemed to be further away, somewhere else, a little distance at first. So I hope that you tasted something deeper about who you really are and experienced some opening with just simply asking a question where the answers aren't really important or where we're experiencing the answer directly and not needing to think about something. And you can do this as often as you like, if you like it. And it just brings the recognition of who we really are to the forefront of our experience rather than the background, and where the mind is and the movement and the changingness is in the foreground. So I'll open it up here now in case there are any questions or challenges, or you want to share your experience of what we just explored together. And as we said, please just watch for that prompt on the screen if you're asking a question, and it'll ask you to unmute. It'll pop up and ask you to unmute. So if you do have a question, feel free to raise your hand here and on Zoom, and we'll see where the conversation goes. Mitra? Yeah, there
Hi,
we go.
Helen.
I love.
Yes. I think what I'm doing, like when this time I just noticed that in my meditations with silence or anything else, I'm actually somehow think what is silence or stillness. And just now, I thought maybe I should stay more in the not knowing
Hmm.
for this to go deeper.
Yeah, there's a noticing of silence or awareness or whatever we're calling it in our meditation. And sometimes at first that's as far as it goes. I notice silence and so what? My attention's drawn back to thoughts quite quickly or sensations or something. And after a little while, there was a deeper curiosity, um, like we were just experiencing. Do I actually really know anything about silence, about myself? Still, after all this time, I find I don't really know. But there's a falling away of needing to know, isn't there? More and more, or having to reach a conclusion about anything, and more just, as you said, wanting to dive into the not knowing, where there's an openness there, right? When we don't know.
I noticed that the silence in the last year I've been working with you has deepened.
Mm.
So even if I stop in a busy street and listen to the silence, I hear it louder than before. But I haven't gone deeper than that. It's much louder than before.
It's
But
okay.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I lack curiosity though.
Mm.
Like, you
It,
know,
it it's really nice to just be curious as well, right? What is silence? Like, will we ever really know? Can we really define that ever? No, but we can experience it in an ever fuller way, ever more um, complete. That silence, as you said, it became very, very loud, which sounds strange. Loud as in prominent, and even in the airport, even in the train station or the supermarket, it was just obvious after a while. Easier sometimes with all the noise, somehow to just hear that which is not making noise. And something somehow just opened up into I never really fully want to know. I just want to keep discovering. And I can't actually know, but I can experience. I can't know with the mind, but I can experience it.
and when you ask that question, like, what is silence? It's like listening to it, to what is in my experience. Is that so? What is silence? You know, there is this noumenon, formlessness, total silence.
Mm.
Whatever is happening in my experience, I'm doing it right, right?
Oh
Right?
yeah, yeah.
That's it. I'm
That's it.
not
And
missing.
the more we notice silence, the more curious we become about it. The more curious we become about it, the more we notice it. And it begins to become to happen on its own. And when we're out, not just on the meditation cushion, but the rest of our day, we become where the silence is always here. It must be. It's what we really are. And that it's not interrupted by the sounds or the words or the thoughts. It's just here. And at any point, we can just taste that and dip into it. There's a richness there. There's a thread here to follow, isn't there? There's a little trail of breadcrumbs here. Like, follow me, come this
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I something happened that never happened before, but it was very subtle.
Just explore that. Just play with that.
Okay.
Real curiosity,
Okay.
like, whoa, as if no matter how many times you've heard silence, let's pretend you've never heard it before, coming to it fresh. It's like that for me now all the time. It's like the first time every time. And it's something so sweet about that and delicious.
Yeah, for me, I go to it's very repetitive, but yeah, I this time I experienced it differently. Yeah, a little bit more curiosity.
Beautiful.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for sharing. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we'll go to Wendy. Kyla.
Hi there. Sorry, my button wouldn't come off.
It's okay.
Um, Hi, Helen.
Hi.
I just wanted to say a couple of things, but one of them is that every time I listen to you, I don't know what it is, but this energy starts in my head, like it does in meditation most of the time anyways. But there's this energy that kind of ramps up in my head, and it's not a bad energy. It feels really nice, actually, kind of almost comforting.
Yeah.
But then, so I'm not sure what that is, but then sometimes it almost like a lightsaber running through my ears goes, and then it's, startles me and kind of takes me out of it. But I only get that with, listening to a few people. So I just wanted to say that about that. So you must be doing something to me
You might
without
you
me
might
knowing.
have heard of the Kundalini or the chakra system, right? Maybe.
Yes.
And that's all it is. It's just that the life force that powers the body and the mind runs up a central channel up the spine and up the back of the neck and towards the front of the head here. And most times we're just not really aware of it because usually we're spending so much life force. Kundalini is just life force. And we're spending so much life force believing thoughts. But
Yes.
sometimes if we get really quiet and really still and we're really listening, or we're deep in meditation, or we're really engrossed in a movie or something, like really lost in a book, we might find that somehow we just become aware of this energy pulsing.
Mm,
It can be very pleasant, but it we can also become aware of where it hits an energetic blockage, a lower frequency, like some doubt, self-doubt, or
right.
some guilt or something like that. Yeah. It's very
Yeah.
normal, but it is a little strange when you first begin to
Yeah,
experience it.
it's been going on for a couple of years, and I'm surprised it hasn't kind of disappeared by now. But like I say, it's not a bad thing. I actually like it
Yeah.
because it also it's kind of nice that it comes in and out kind of
Hmm.
throughout the day as well. And my feet do it too. And my feet up to my knees. There's just running energy, kind of like almost, like you could feel it bubbly inside. Like you can't see it to look at them, but you can feel it moving inside and bubbling and
Hmm.
shifting. And I don't know what it's doing, but it
It's
feels
just
good.
gently, it's only you, but in life, in form of life force, a subtle form, and it's just working its way through the energetic system. As it does that, it tries to clear out some of the lower frequencies. So you might, in the end, it'll be flowing very fast and there'll be a lot of it and it'll feel very pleasant, very pleasant. But until then, you might be aware of where it's kind of pushing through something slower, like fast moving water trying to push through molasses or something like that. It kind of hits
Yeah,
a thicker patch of fear or shame or something. And it just gently, it knows what to do by itself.
right. Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
a little stretching or a few yoga asanas just help to help the body let the energy flow. But it
right, right,
it is normal. But
right.
but it's not something you read about in the newspaper, is it? So it's a little weird when you first experience it.
Yeah, I know, you hear a lot of people have it, but you never really find out what it's actually doing.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that, yeah, it's probably clearing out
You can imagine that the
frequencies that I'm
seven,
unaware of even.
yeah, exactly. The seven energy centers or chakras are like seven centers of thought. So the lowest one I'm concerned, the root chakra, is about my survival and can I have roots in the world and I'm security and all the
Right,
way up to my connection with the divine, and the crown realizing my oneness with the silence, as we're calling it here. So, and everything in between, and
yeah,
um, obviously we might know the heart chakra, the function is to come to fully love ourselves and totally unconditionally. So,
mhm.
yeah. You can Google it as well, have a read about it and see.
Yeah, I have, but I don't, it's kind of, you don't find a lot on it other than, you hear stories where it's really crazy and,
Yeah.
it sets people, into a real panic sort of thing for a long period of time sometimes. This isn't that like that or anything, or it hasn't turned
The,
into that anyways.
yeah, I mean, there are some lots of people who have had a very difficult challenge with it. Some here in the Sangha, but the way we work here with contemplation and self-inquiry, actually contemplation is dissolving these blocks, these slower frequencies of energy. So we don't tend to have these really quite horrific experiences of the energy rising too fast with too many blockages.
Right.
That's why we work with meditation, which is going to, increase the life force. We also work with contemplation and self-inquiry so that we have some way to work with what meditation brings to the surface. Otherwise, like you said, we can find ourselves in trouble. So, yeah.
Can I ask you a question too about um, the visual field?
Yeah.
So I was doing this practice the other day, about 4 or 5 days ago, where you kind of pick an object in the room. You're the subject, pick an object, and you just completely focus on that and get yourself into a place where you're just basically sitting and being, and you just focus on that. I was doing that, and I was using my hand. My hand disappeared, and then it startled me. So it came back. And then I started I calmed myself down and said, it's nothing to worry about. Just keep. So I did it 2 or 3 more times. Same thing happened. Right. And then one time I was like, this was a while ago, sitting in front of having a coffee with my sister and half her face disappeared. I don't know why the other half does it. So I keep getting these glimpses,
Mhm.
but nothing um, solidifies kind of thing.
We can have these kind of experiences. I've had similar things. And it's really just to show us that what we think is solid is not really solid at
Right.
all, right? It's formless. It looks like a form. And when the energy is higher, the life force is higher in the body, which will be as we're meditating with the contextual field or any as we've done tonight with the silence. Um, we might get just a little glimpse like this, just to open us up that this, what we think is absolutely real and solid, is not so much. It's just this form of silence in disguise.
Yeah, it kind of solidified the knowing that I'm really not a body,
Yeah, yeah,
right? It really cemented that
yeah.
in. Like have had experiences in the past where my body in meditation has completely disappeared and many times and that, but not while I'm sitting there with my eyes open kind of thing.
As we
So
as we're more and more aware though of who we really are, there's not so much difference eyes open or closed, right? More and more, it's just obvious that we are this formless silence, and so is everything. So you might find more things like that happening. But if you find it it's scary when it happens, you can just ask, I'd like to get this message in a way that's easier.
Well, that's actually I'm glad you said that because that's kind of what I was wondering too, is that when I get that startle reflex like that, which is fear, of course, does it go away because I have this fear and it doesn't proceed kind of thing? Do you
It
think?
can be, yeah. Well, sometimes just that it's given us the message. It's like this is not what it looks like, and then we've got that message, so the experience stops. And we don't need that experience to stay. Right now, to me, this looks solid.
Right.
Feels solid still. It feels like I'm sitting in a chair. There's a body sitting in a chair. All that is totally okay. I'm not in argument with it because I know what it really is. As you said, the knowingness of what the body is and everything is, it's just got deeper and deeper.
Okay, so I don't need to do I need to keep practicing that then? Like I get it. But
If it's fun,
I mean the world
but
isn't
if
and
not,
myself isn't going to disappear anyway forever. There's still going to be a body in the world
yeah,
kind of.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
the
it's just
most
that,
times it's just completely ordinary and normal awakening, right? It just
yeah,
becomes clear that knowing I'm not at all what I thought I was. I'm formless,
right.
empty silence, and so is everything else. But you look just like a human being still to everyone else, and you carry
Yeah.
on about your life in a very normal way.
Good thing.
Yeah. And you can enjoy it then, right? Because you're not caught up in these ideas of, I'm just this body and I'm gonna die soon, at some point.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a shift in perception that kind of solidified. So that was really good. But I also, at the same time, after that night, which was weird, saw very clearly in a direct experience that, there was no world, there was no me, there was, all that kind of stuff. That was very clear. So that kind of came within the few days of each other like that.
Beautiful. And
Yeah.
as it deepens, there's just actually a falling in love with the world again, right?
Yeah.
With everything, because it's not what it looks like. It's
Right.
exactly the same as the beautiful silence we were tasting. So we might lose any aversion to the manifestation that we had before, and just
Right.
there's a
Yeah.
falling in love with it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
sharing.
clarifying that. All
Yeah,
right.
wonderful. Thank you. Okay, community. Hi.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can, yes, yeah.
I
So,
just want to say first my namaste,
Thank you.
my pranams to you. My name is Narayana.
Lovely to
Um,
meet you.
you too. I recently came across your YouTube feed, maybe a month or so back.
Oh, well,
So
welcome.
it's been a really nice connection with you. I think I needed to hear a message in a way that deeply settled into me and allowed me to have some more depth and clarity. And you provided that for me in your online videos. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Wonderful.
I just a quick background. I lived monastically for 10 years as a brahmachari in a Hindu ashram in San Francisco Bay Area. And 10 years prior to that, I was deeply on the quest. So it's been about 20 years, half of my life, I've just been on this very intense
Mhm.
self-seeking journey. Um, and I've done practices of bhakti yoga, and Vedanta has been a kind of coming back to me because I have this mind that just wants to see the world through the mind. So much power is there. And instead of being an emotional person, I'm a mental person. So it's fit me well. But I guess my question is, the silence has been a much easier place for me to rest into. Um, Yet I find there is a waiting to feel something revealed to me from within, as if my soul starts to reveal to me some depth where it feels more natural to go to that place of connection. I often find when I'm sitting in meditation, I will go into a sleep stage when I go deeper and deeper. And it's been a habit for years. When I'm walking in meditation, it's almost like this beautiful balance where I'm kind of connected to my body, yet I'm deep in the silence.
Mm.
So, my question is there a point in time, however you're meditating, that the soul reveals itself to you where there's a connection made of understanding, of direct experience that makes it uh, an ongoing, consistent connection where you don't really lose it anymore by that revelation? Or is it just the process of continually trying until it becomes natural through the effort itself?
For me, the key for me was to begin to question the reality of the one that was losing it and then connecting again and losing it and connecting again. That became so painful that it was back and forth, and each time I would taste into the silence, deep into the silence, there was a recognition, this is all there is, and how could I ever lose it? And then 2 minutes later, listening to my mind again, or 20 seconds. So that's when I really kind of dove into self-inquiry to try to find this sense of a me that seems to lose it and gain it. To try to find, we can do it right now, actually, if you want to. We can explore, yeah. Let's just see that this eye that's trying to stabilize even in silence. Can you find it when you search? What do you find when you look for yourself?
It feels like whenever I ask a question, there's a, and when I really settle into it, there is really nothing to grab onto like a clear anchor,
There's
other
no
than,
form there, right? There's
yeah, there's
just,
nothing to hold on to.
yeah. So that nothing to hold on to, it is just actual nothingness, isn't it? Formlessness, emptiness, silence, presence, whatever we're calling it. And does it have to stabilize or deepen or any of those things? Is it changing? Is what you really are? Does it need to recognize itself more deeply, even?
Mm.
Or is it already exactly as it is?
From a direct experience and intuition, it's always the same.
Mm.
It's always the same radiant stillness, but there is a part of my mind that is so obsessed with understanding more and more of it, or
Yeah.
some idea of how it should be. And that link is so quick and so powerful, I lose myself in going, oh, I'm already in some thought about how it should be.
Can you lose this though if you are it? Let's experience it again together.
Hmm.
This that you really are, can it go with the mind? Or is it actually, I'm just here as this, and attention goes away from me towards the mind? But are you moving away? Are you losing something? Can you, as this formless silence?
To me, that question feels like a question of being in deep sleep. It's like I know I had sleep, but I don't have any, I can't get through the layers of the perceiver and the mind. It feels so quick and so subtle. So
It's
that
normal,
feels,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's just experience again what you are together. Let's just experience that. What am I? What are you? And simply coming back each time we look like this, experiencing it again and again and again directly like we're doing now, begins to wipe away our ability to believe that we can come out of this. We're not coming out of this.
Mm.
Only thing that's happened when we look together is that the formless silence turned to look at itself instead of looking at thoughts or something, right? Can mind affect this formless silence?
certainly doesn't feel like it to me.
So when you feel in your everyday experience and those moments that mind is affecting you, it's really good to just come back and experience what you actually are again and again. And I would do this 50, 70, 100 times a day sometimes when my mind was going really nuts. As often as I could, just dipping in and seeing I'm not the one affected by this. I'm not the one affected by this again and again. I'm already free. There's just this that's here, right? And it doesn't need anything. It doesn't even need the mind to be quiet. You can sense there's something really authentic here.
It feels like the mind, or sorry, the awareness is holding the mind itself.
Yeah.
That I can hear you and perceive you, and the more I keep an attention as being this kind of expansive awareness, your experience kind of goes right into it. It's almost like a void. It absorbs everything on some level.
And even is there a mind? If we really touch into what we are, is there such a thing as mind?
It seems like however you or anybody or myself is processing thoughts, it's all the same way we do it. It's just different, our own personal things. So I've been thinking about what you had mentioned about a universal mind. There's only one mind. I'm not sure if I'm fully understanding it from the depths, but um, it feels like this a habit of relationship towards thought.
Let's touch in again, just one more time, to what we really are together. Let's just sense that formlessness that we are.
Okay.
And if a thought rolls through this silence or awareness, is there anything to be impacted by a thought? Can any object can appear in this formless emptiness that we are? Where is a thought going to stick to? If you are completely insubstantial, intangible, invisible. If we're struggling with the mind, it only really indicates that that there is just a subtle idea of it still being a form, something for a thought to impact and get stuck to on the way through. But if I am insubstantiality, emptiness, empty formless silence, then the thoughts just, there's nothing I could do with them anyway, or need to. They're just going to come right through me. And there's a deep sense that the mind is happening in me and not to me. It's just another appearance inside me, right? Inside this vast, whatever this is. So coming back and experiencing again and again who we really are, and then bringing what we think the current problem is to this. Does this apply if I'm not a form or someone? And begin to see I can't really be impacted as formless silence like I can if I'm a person. If I'm a person, I'm like Velcro, right? Flypaper to thoughts. They're just, and the moment I listen to one thought, there's 10,000 then, and on it goes. And I seem to have a struggle then to get back to silence. If I am silence, complete formless silence already, you have a different experience of the mind then. In fact, we might not even be able to find it. Even if a thought pops up, it pops up to nobody in particular. Who's it going to talk to? Silence is not affected at all, is it, by the mind?
No, it's not.
Just seeing like this, like we've done here, just checking in again and again and again to what's actually true. And we touch upon this in meditation, but in self-inquiry, we're directly going there on purpose to kind of prove that the problem we think we have is not actually ours. It's not that we're avoiding the mind. It's like saying that one wave on the surface of this ocean, and we are the vast ocean, that one wave on the surface can bother me. And I am the totality of the depth and all the waves, right? Yeah, it's a different experience then, isn't it?
And it feels very powerful when it's being reflected from you to me. It's like I'm remembering what I've experienced before. I often just forget. I mean, I'm making some idea of forgetting. There's no forgetting, I understand, but it's almost like layers have blocked that feeling. Oh, it's always been like that whenever I go there.
Yeah.
So
That's why I kind of really saw that I would keep imagining something was wrong. That the only remedy was just to experience who I am again and again and again until somehow that overrides my capacity to believe that the mind is affecting me or something like that, right?
yeah.
Like each time I would taste and experience the silence, somehow I was less able to go back to the mind just a little bit afterwards. Doing it again and again and again, the mind moved from something that was seemingly right here to just over there, and it got quieter and quieter and quieter, and then I don't know where it is. And it's really not, I'm not in a rush to find it. I don't have any aversion to it or anything, but it's just not so important because it's talking to who it thinks I am, which really has no relevance for who I actually am. And it becomes like that, where you can feel a little bit. So this dipping into the direct experience of who we are is it's just a little bit harder each time to go back to the old problems, and that increases next time. It's even more impossible to go back, and you retain that. It just becomes more and more constant that that's just who you are. You're living as that more, right? These little moments of just dipping in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely conversation. It's everyone's question as well, isn't it? So thank you for sharing.
Yes.
It's everyone's. Thanks. Okay, so we'll finish with Tess when you're ready. Hi.
Oh, I lost you here.
I can hear you. It's good. Can you see me? Hear me?
There I am.
Wonderful.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm nervous. Ugh.
That's okay. You can just take a minute if you need to. Just take a deep breath and no rush.
I wrote out my question.
Okay.
Um, so I'm dealing with a medical condition that's considered incurable, and I am desperate to heal. When you say awareness is already free and does nothing, that it's neutral, passive, I don't understand how that applies to something this real. If there is no separate self and awareness is what I am, then who is responsible for healing? And how can I trust that? And how can I directly see that for myself?
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing so bravely. And in my own journey, I had to really reframe my concept of healing. That maybe healing isn't something that I'm going to do as a person, but healing of the physical body would be a natural reflection of seeing who we really are. That the body has been struggling with the effect of believing these ideas about ourselves. First of all, that we are a separate being, separate person, as someone, and that we were born and that we will die at some point, and that we're experiencing all of this in between. And then along with that idea that we're a separate being comes all these other ideas that perhaps we're not good enough, that we aren't safe, and all of these beliefs that we have. And the healing then is more of a return to wholeness of the body, as the body begins to reflect the wholeness of the awareness that we already are, rather than reflecting. The body has to either experience what we think we are, or it will experience who we actually are as we wake up more. And so the effect of these lower thoughts, frequencies of separation begin to leave the body as we're willing to look at them and work with them. So that what we call an illness or a disease is really the body really struggling to cope with some lower frequencies. Perhaps we might have really thought we're not safe at all, and we might feel that we're not good enough, there's something flawed about us. So as the seeing of who you really are begins to override that there never was anything wrong with you, that there never was anything, you never were unsafe. The body begins to reflect that instead, rather than the thoughts, right? And that is what we're calling healing here, but it's really more of a return to the natural vitality and well-being of the body in its natural state. It's been living with these beliefs for so long that we've kind of gotten used to feeling that way. Does that help?
Yeah.
It's kind of scary sometimes if we realize that there isn't a person here. Then, as you said, who's going to make this healing happen?
Yeah.
But the recognition that there never was a person, as that gets deeper and deeper, that there only ever was this silence, this awareness, allows us to free ourselves of all these thoughts that are reflecting as illness, disease, things like that. Healing can't not happen from there. Yet it's a natural healing in all ways, of course, physical healing, but financial healing, healing our relationships, as this knowing of who we are begins to permeate our whole life.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able not to have a realization that there is no separate self.
We can look right now if you want to.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So let's just do a little inquiry together. There's no right or wrong answers here. We're just exploring together. And let's just have a look for what do you find when you look for yourself? And take your time.
What I find when I look for myself, you mean like my real self or?
Just everything that you find. I mean, probably the first thing you notice is the body, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some thoughts, emotions, sensations.
Sensations, yes.
And what else? What else is here?
Ah,
We're asking these questions, but we're not trying to find an answer. We're just open together, right? Like we're just asking the question only. So what are you? Well, I'm a body, I'm thoughts, I'm sensations, I'm emotions.
mm,
And what else?
mm, mm.
And something that is aware of those, excuse me, there's something that's aware of your body. You know there's a
Yes,
body, you know there's thoughts, you know there's emotions, sensations. What is it
yes.
that's aware? What is it that knows?
Yeah, the awareness. I'm that which
Beautiful.
is
And
aware.
it's,
I'm that which is aware of that. Yeah.
yeah,
We're
you,
aware of those things.
yeah,
Yes.
you're the that which is noticing and seeing the body, right? The thoughts, all of it.
Yeah.
Even if the body's in pain or deep contraction, there's something that knows.
Yes.
And we've always just assumed that that's me. It's me. We just put that kind of word on it, but Is it a form, what you are, or is it formless?
No, it's definitely formless.
Beautiful, beautiful. And this formless, can we call it awareness just for now?
Awareness, yeah.
Yeah. This formless awareness that you are, can it be sick? Can it fall ill?
No,
Wonderful. And is it suffering right now? The body might be, the mind might be, but is awareness suffering?
no, it's just sitting there like a bump on a log. Like it doesn't do anything.
And what we begin to find as we explore this awareness that we are is that it is like equanimity. It's just simply aware, as you said. It's not pushing against anything and it's not grabbing anything.
No,
And it totally allows the body and mind to be exactly as they are.
yeah,
It's quite in contrast to how we have been with ourselves when we thought we were a person. We're pretty much constantly trying to change something, right? Reject something.
right.
So what is it like now, just with me here, just for a moment, to just be this awareness? To not need anything to change, just for a moment. Let's just experience that together. You're doing great.
It's quiet, it's peaceful.
Yeah. There's nothing going on there, right? It's just here.
Yeah,
And in a way, awareness, another word for awareness is love, because it's just totally letting you be, the body and mind be as they are. It's not trying to change or reject anything.
mm. I wondered where the love part was.
Mm. At first, it just kind of feels blank, like, okay, awareness, no big deal. But as we explore it more, we find something that perhaps for the first time is not actually trying to change anything about us. Like the mind is in constant argument with who we are. But awareness is just here, isn't it? Just here, just resting as this together.
Yeah,
It doesn't need anything. It's not trying to get anywhere. Nothing to get rid of. And noticing that when we notice awareness, the body also begins to change. Our experience of the body begins to change. What's happening in your body now then, as you notice awareness?
it's loosening up a bit. Yeah,
This is the beginning of healing, right? Can you feel that your body has been experiencing what you think about yourself, and now it's experiencing directly what it's like to notice who you really are, awareness.
mm.
And that we can either experience who we really are or who we think we are, but not both at the same time.
Mm.
And our body is so amazing that it's always telling us whether we're actually experiencing who we actually are, awareness, or whether we're lost in the mind.
Mm.
So just coming back here like this, all we did is we just asked what you really are. And we just kept looking at what's noticing. There's a body, there's thoughts, there's sensations. Just touching into that formless awareness that you really are. Just noticing what effect that has on the body. And life force can begin to flow and to get to those parts of the body where it's not being able to get to properly. Really, any illness or anything that we could put a diagnosis on, of course, we seek medical attention if we need to. But really, what it actually is that the life force has been restricted, hasn't been able to flow. in abundance, because so much of it is caught up in thinking, which costs us a lot of energy. Here, as we touch into awareness again, let's just do that together one more time. There's something effortless there, isn't there? There's something, awareness, it isn't costing us energy to notice awareness. It's just here.
Mm.
So, best advice would be to just come back to this as often as you can and want to, and rest as this. Attention will wander away from awareness back to thoughts. You can just bring it back. This is what we call meditation here, just noticing the awareness, silence, whatever we're calling it. You have a good friend there. And noticing how it nourishes the body, right, rather than taxing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen many miracles happen from there.
Mm-hmm. So as much as I can, so that you're saying that's a form of meditation.
Yeah, that's all we do in the meditation that we practice here in this teaching. We're just tuning into awareness or silence, the same thing, right? Awareness, it's completely silent. It's not making any sound. We call it lots of names, but here we're calling it awareness. We just notice it, we just notice it, we just notice it. And then attention wanders away to a thought or a sensation or some pain in the body. And as soon as we notice it's wandered, we're just bringing it back to awareness. On the YouTube channel, there's a whole list of guided meditations that you can check out.
Mm-hmm.
And all we're doing is bringing attention back to what we really are, again and again, just gently. And it becomes more and more obvious, and more the body lives that recognition of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
You did so well.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Good to meet you and talk to you.
You too. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay. So that's a great place to leave it for today's satsang. And thank you all for your presence and your sharing, your authenticity and your honesty, and for being present here with me today. Really, really enjoyed spending this time together. Thank you so much. Namaste.